Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is not your normal video that I would typically do. First of all, let me just quick preface. I'm at my grandma's house. I'm in her living room. I know the background is not cute and not what you guys are used to from me, but just bear with me please, because you know what? I don't like it either. It's bothering me too. Obviously by the title of this video, you guys know that I had a seizure from the Juul. Oh my god, the lighting is just, this video is just not cute already, and I'm sorry if this is the first video you're watching of mine. Video is also probably 10-4. Thank you. You're fucking welcome. Can I start my video, please? As you can tell by the title of this video, I had a seizure from the Juul. This is 100% true. Everything I'm telling you guys is 100% the truth. I'm not making this shit up. And when people are like, oh my god, I have such bad luck, I'm like, no, I have really bad luck. And like when I told people that this happened to me, everyone's response was like, wow, like this would only happen to you. So let me just preface everything. I unfortunately was very addicted to the Juul, and it started on a snowboard trip I went on with like 8 different kids, and this was my sophomore year. So this was January of 2018. Everyone had Juuls and I was like, ugh, like I didn't like it at first, and then I was like, oh, I kind of like it. So then like a month after that trip, I was like, you know what, I want to get a Juul. All of these kids just kind of influenced me to get a Juul. I was just like that basic bitch that Juuled and was just like, oh my god, I love my Juul, whatever. My boyfriend and I also started dating around that time. Ex-boyfriend now, we broke up. Also, he's gonna be mentioned a lot. Can this fucking clock, like the noises, I can't. One more. He's definitely going to be mentioned a few times in this video because he had a lot to do with all of this and was with me the day I had my seizure. He Juuled, I Juuled, and throughout like February 2018 up until like summer, August, I Juuled all the time, all day, every day. I was always going to the bathroom to hit my Juul at work. I was hitting my Juul in class. Like, it was bad, like I'll admit it. So we were always together, and all the kids knew if you were like under 21, because they changed the law from 18 or 19 to 21. Yeah, 19 to 21 in New Jersey to buy nicotine. All the kids knew that, you know, what gas stations you could go to that wouldn't ID you to go buy Juul pods. It was just like a thing. And then September, he went to Boston. I stayed in Jersey, went to school, and I was like, I'm gonna quit. And he was like, I'm gonna quit. And like, I would just like do the craziest shit to like try and quit Juuling. I was so addicted to my Juul. One of my roommates had a Juul too, and she was like, I don't get it, like I'm not addicted. And I was like, how the fuck are you not addicted to this thing? I would just sit there and just hit my Juul. We would all just be like sitting in the living room and I would just hit my Juul all the time, and like she just didn't hit her Juul, and I was like, how do you not, like, I don't know. I was just very addicted. I also learned that I had a very addictive personality. I went to this smoke shop one time and I bought nicotine, like vape juice, and I would refill my Juul pods because I didn't even want to buy Juul pods anymore. So I was like, oh, I'm not buying Juul pods. I quit the Juul. Like, what the fuck? I would quit for like a week. My boyfriend and I, we would make promises to each other. We're like, I'm gonna quit, whatever. I remember one time I went up to visit him and we both weren't Juuling, and then we went out that night. I actually did get us kicked out of a club for Juuling. That was wild. Then I would say around February, March, I was really only Juuling on the weekends. I cut down a lot. And then there's this one day I was babysitting, and I was babysitting late that night. It was like 6 to like 11 or 12 or something like that. It was a Saturday night. The parents had like an event to go to. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, my heart hurts. Like my heart really just, it hurts. And like I was just getting like weird twitches in me. So I'm on Google. First of all, I'm a hypochondriac. I will say that. I'm that bitch that has to Google every time there's something wrong with me. And basically every time I enter my symptoms, Google's like, you're gonna die, or like you have cancer, or like you need to go to the hospital. I'm one of those people. Mind you that he's at my house while I'm at work. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have a heart attack. Like Google says I'm dying. Like I'm literally about to have a fucking heart attack right now. And he's like, you're fine, like you're probably fine, whatever. So I call my grandma. I'm like, I have a heart attack, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I'm getting like these weird heart palpitations, my heart is hurting, and I was Juuling during the time. So I'm like thinking like, what if this has something to do with it? As soon as I got to my house, he was in my room just chilling, and all my roommates were upstairs, and I was like, you guys, like I'm having like these crazy heart problems, whatever. All of the things I looked up on Google was just like leading me to heart attacks. So in April, there was obviously no studies yet or cases of like people having problems, you know, from the Juul yet. So I was like, we obviously have no idea like what's in these things. Really, like no one knew the consequences, you know? My roommates are like, you should go. Like if you really think you should go to the hospital, go. So we go to the hospital Saturday night. It's like midnight and it's like packed, and I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, I'd rather have a heart attack than wait in this stupid hospital. So I went on like ZocDoc. You can like book doctor's appointments. So I booked a cardiologist appointment for the following Monday. I just found this like random cardiologist with good reviews, booked him, and I was like, listen, I'll figure this out on Monday. My grandma was like, oh, maybe you're just having heartburn. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So I went and bought Tums and Bayer aspirin, because apparently that can prevent heart attacks. So I like OD'd on those. Just kidding, I didn't OD. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna sleep it off, just go to bed. So that's exactly what I did. Woke up the next morning, felt fine. Monday, went to the cardiologist, got an EKG, got every single test in the book done. I had 7 tests that day. The other thing was I have a family history of like heart problems. My uncles both have like AFib, and my mom has, shit, I just remember the name. What is it? I don't know. My mom has something. So that was also my concern. So that was Monday. Normal week, Tuesday through Friday, whatever. Saturday night. It was a great night, actually. I remember I tried the Beyond Burger for the very first time. I made a nice dinner for Paul and I had like a glass of wine. We were just chilling. And we were watching, I actually remember we were watching, because now to this day I have like weird like PTSD. I don't want to like offend anyone if I'm using that word, but I can't watch this show again because it just brings me back to like this really, really bad night. It was called Murder Mountain, and it was basically this show. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but it was like this show where all these people went to go like grow weed and stuff and work on the farms there. And I remember we were just sitting there watching it. My couch like went back. So like I was laying here, he was laying here, and then I was like, oh, my neck really hurts, like can you give me a massage? So I was sitting like this, just like this, crisscross applesauce. Obviously you guys can't see, but, and he was sitting like, there was the couch behind me. I was sitting my back up against the couch, and he was sitting on the couch, and he was just like above me, like rubbing out my neck. I just remember sitting here. I was like, yo, pass me the Juul. Passes me the Juul. I get it on my hand, whatever. I hit it, and I was like, wow, my vision's kind of like going a little like blurry. And I was like, this is weird. I'm a fainter when it comes to like when I get my blood taken, and that's really the only time I've ever fainted. It was kind of that feeling. It was like right before you feel like you're gonna faint. And then all of a sudden I said, Paul, I think I'm gonna. And then he said, I just went like back, and my head basically went into his lap. He didn't know if I was like faking it or anything. So he was like, the first thing he said was, Kehlani, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And he said I didn't like answer. I didn't respond at all. And he was like, Kehlani, stop playing with me. Like, what's going on? And that's when he was just like, what the fuck? Like, there's something wrong here. And because of my heart problems, the first thing he said he thought about was like, wow, Kehlani just had a heart attack or something. He said it was literally the scariest experience of his life, just watching me like fall back like that and like not know what's going on. Instinct was, because of all these heart problems, I was having a heart attack. I didn't know what to do, so he just kind of like left me like that. But anyway, I fall back like that, and then I literally just start seizing, like twitching and everything. And he said he didn't really know what to do with the seizure. Later on, we find out you're supposed to like roll them on their side so that if they're like foaming at the mouth, that they don't like choke on it or whatever. But I didn't like foam at the mouth. So he said my seizure lasted for a little over a minute. Said it was the longest minute of his life. Also, none of my roommates were home. They were all out, and it was probably like 11:30. They were all out at a bar. We were just alone, so he didn't have anyone to like help him or anything. So he said he just started like crying. He didn't know what to do, so he called 911. This was the part where I just like, oh, I hate talking about it, because like still to this day, like it freaks me the fuck out. It really, really, really freaks me out, this lighting. So sorry for the overall quality of this video. I promise if you subscribe, the videos won't be this bad every time. As I come out of this seizure, in real life, I wasn't actually doing this, but I remember I looked up and I saw him looking down at me, and I saw him on the phone with someone, and I could see him for like a second, and then my eyes were going like in and out, like black. I couldn't really see anything, and my vision, like, it wasn't there. So anyway, it was literally like an out-of-body experience, and I could not hear anything, mind you. I thought that I was screaming this, but I was not actually screaming it. But in my head, like what I remember, I was screaming, Paul, I think I'm having a heart attack. I was like, Paul, I think I'm having a heart attack. Like, it was, I just got chills, because it just brings back, it was just really bad. In that moment, I genuinely thought I was dying. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating, but like, I genuinely thought that I was dying. I couldn't hear anything. As I'm saying this, I look up, and I was like vaguely able to make him out. It was very blurry. I had really no vision, and I could see him on the phone with someone. I didn't know who he was on the phone with. I guess, I don't know how long it took for me to get like my hearing back. I remember just like looking up and just screaming, and my eyes kept going like that, like they were wide open. That was also something I forgot to mention. My eyes were open the whole time. He said that was really, really, really freaky. So I remember trying to open my eyes, and I was just like keeping them so wide because I couldn't see anything. So I was like trying to see, if that makes any sense. Then I finally get my hearing, and then I notice he's on the phone with like an 911 operator, and he's like, she's waking up, she's coming out, I don't know what's going on, but she's up, like she's up. And then I just remember being on the floor, and I was drenched in sweat. It took me a minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes, however long this episode was, for me to literally be drenched in sweat, and I was freezing. He said I was so pale. This was like kind of weird, but I remember as soon as I got out of it, I went like this, and I like backed up onto the couch and just like laid down and was just like, what the fuck just happened, basically. He was just like, grabbed me, hugged me, whatever, and was just like, oh my, like, what's going on? Like, ambulance, it's on its way, like, what the fuck just happened? And I was just like, holy shit. And I was like, I literally hit the Juul and then had a seizure. But then we were just like, is that why I was having weird heart problems? Did this really do damage on me? So then the ambulance shows up, get in the ambulance and go. We really had no choice but to go. I was so pale, my blood pressure was really, really low. They took my vitals and stuff when they were in my house, and they were like, do you want to go? And I was like, honestly, like, yeah, like I still don't feel right. Like I just don't feel right. So they took me to the hospital. It was the worst fucking hospital care I've ever gotten in my life. I won't say the name of the hospital because it's near where I live. So they took my vitals. They hooked me up to like tubes and stuff and an IV, whatever. And they were like, you don't have a history of seizures, whatever. I told them, I was like, yeah, I literally hit the Juul and then just like died basically, you know. So that was really like the only thing that could have been it, you know. We got to the hospital, I want to say around midnight-ish, and we got to leave at like 5 a.m. I was crying the majority of the time, mostly because I had an IV in me, and they wouldn't let me leave until I finished the IV, and I was like, it's going so slow. And like the guy that did my IV like totally like fucked it up, and I was in so much pain. I was pressing the button and I was like, please like get me out of here, like I just want to go home. The nurse was such an asshole. Like, if you were a fucking nurse, let me just say that all of the people there were so fucking rude. You know what, I'm just gonna say it. It was the Mountainside Hospital in Glen Ridge, New Jersey. I'll say it, I don't care. But the nurse was so mean to me. Like I was such a bother to him. All the other nurses, the doctors, everyone, they ran the EKG. My heart was good. They mainly wanted to run the EKG on me because I told them and I was having like weird heart problems, whatever. My EKG turned out to be totally fine. And I remember I was so nervous to tell my mom because she knew I Juuled. And the craziest thing is one of my mom's cousins actually was in the hospital 2 weeks prior to this because the Juul blew up in his fucking pants. How do these stories happen to two people in the same family? Like, this man's was on the news, like you could probably look it up. He was juuling to quit cigarettes and Juul ended up blowing up in his pants and he had 3rd-degree burns. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks. That was also like so crazy to me. And I stopped juuling, don't worry. So if you guys needed a reason to stop juuling, please use my story as a reason to not Juul. Don't start it. It's fucking stupid to spend money on it. It's bad for your health. Also, another crazy thing was that happened on a Saturday. The following Monday, the Monday after that, I was at the gym. Snapchat article came up. It was just like, attention everyone that Juul, 30 reported cases of seizures from the Juuls in the US. And I was just like, 30! And I'm fucking one of them! And I'm one of them? Like, what? How does that happen? And everyone I told was like, wow, like this shit only really happens to you. And I'm like, yeah. Welcome to my life. So just don't Juul. I also filled out like something I saw on Facebook and I was like, if you or your loved one has been harmed by the Juul, please contact us. But they didn't reach out to me. So if I have a lawsuit on my hand and you're a lawyer or something watching this video, feel free to look out for me because your girl's about to graduate college, got a lot of loans. You catch my drift. So that is the story time, the long-awaited story time of the time I had a seizure from the Juul. So just don't Juul. Just like don't fucking do it. Like it's not cool. Like I yell at my friends when I see them. I'm like, can we stop? I had a whole ass seizure from one of these things and you guys are still doing it. Like, but I'm actually kind of glad I had a seizure because it stopped me from Juuling, which is pretty dope, not gonna lie. Like, It's a pretty scary experience, but it taught me a lot of things. So I hope I can pass those on to you guys as well. I would love to film a story time about my psycho neighbor experience that I had too. So if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I promise the lighting, the overall quality, the background will not always be like this. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.